guys, and welcome to another one of my lipstick declutter videos. Today we are going to be tackling pinks and roses along with sort of my peachy coral shades. Now, if you've been following this declutter series, you will have seen that I've gone through all of my nude lipsticks. Now, I do feel like there may be some shades in here that are very borderline nude, and so I do intend at the end of this lipstick declutter to spend a little time pulling out the nude lipsticks that I've chosen to keep and swatching some of these shades next to them just to make sure that I really have kept unique shades and I haven't kept a whole lot of duplicates. Oftentimes what happens as I sort these into colors is that I end up with piles of pinks, and it's a judgment call. Is it more pink or more nude pink? And so sometimes those lines can get a little bit blurred, and I do want to go back and just double check what I'm keeping to make sure that I am 100% like happy with all of my choices. Let's go ahead and get into this though, because we've got a lot of lipsticks today to swatch, and I think we're going to start first with the roses. Alright guys, so here are all my rose lipsticks. I'm going to go ahead and set my liquid lipsticks off to the side for the time being, and then we can swatch just the regular lipsticks first to kind of see how we're feeling about everything. We'll go ahead and start with this one. So this is from Revlon. This is their matte balm crayon in the shade Sultry. I do really like this formula, and it's super saturated and easy to work with, but I think we're gonna find that I have a lot of this type of color in my collection right now, so let's see how we feel about this compared to some of the other shades here. This is from Flower Beauty. This is Berry More. This is a matte shade. Though it says berry, I really actually kind of think of this more as a mid-toned rose shade, as you can see there. This ColourPop shade that is trying to escape is Aftershock. It is a matte X formula. It is super duper intensely pigmented. Definitely got a more pinky undertone than the ones we've swatched to date. Matte X is definitely their super almost dry down formula in their Lippie stick. It really provides a very matte lip. This is from e.l.f. This is a little balm called Touch of Blush. These are more sheer and balm-like. It's got a little bit of a berry undertone, but it reads more rose tone, at least on my lips. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the shade Walk of Shame. It is one of her Matte Revolution formulas. Really lovely matte formula. I think her matte formula is gorgeous. And then this is from Lorac. This is the shade Celine. Should this be in roses? Oh, let's swatch it here. Yeah, it's definitely that rosy pink shade. This was from a holiday collection. It's definitely more of a brighter rose. This is from Catrice. This is the ultimate matte lipstick in the shade Exotic Nude, and this is one of those ones that is borderline between nude and rose. It landed here because I felt like it was very similar, but you can tell it definitely has a bit more nude than pink in it. This is from Maybelline. This is Touch of Spice in their matte collection. They're very well known for this shade. Then we've got two ColourPop Luxe lipsticks down here. This is the shade Little League, which is creamy. Some of their Luxe lipsticks are more matte. This one is definitely more of a cream formula. And then this is the shade Belle, which was part of the Beauty and the Beast collection. So as you can see here, I've got a lot in this shade, and I do like this color, but I don't necessarily feel like I need all of these. And you know what? We only have 4 liquid lipsticks, so let's go ahead and just swatch these while we're at it. This is a Lancome Juicy Shaker in Rose Mantic. This one is a very light formula. In fact, I'm gonna just push this down here. I do like this kind of a staining effect that this gives. It does end up matte on your lips, but it gives sort of a light stain that is buildable in color. You can go sheer or build it up. This is from Ofra. This is the shade, gosh, it's fallen off here. I don't know what shade this is. I do like the Ofra liquid lipsticks, but this one I feel like might be getting a little dry and gloopy on me. We have a L'Oreal Pro matte gloss. This is in the shade Nude Allure. This is definitely older in my collection and probably is on its last leg as well. And then the final shade is from Huda Beauty. This is Trophy Wife. This was definitely my favorite shade of all of her liquid lipsticks. It's a very runny formula, though you do have to be careful. This one's got a little bit more of a mauvey undertone to it. A little more neutral, a little more mauvey. All right, guys, so I feel like I'm gonna be kind of harsh here because for as much as I like this color, I feel like I've got a lot of similar shades here, and I do reach for this color, but not as often as I do nude. So whereas I do want to keep some different undertones and styles, I don't feel like I want to keep all of these. Down my wrist, I think I'm going to pass this shade on. I just am not reaching for it a ton. I'm going to keep one of the Lancome shakers. I kept one from my nude, so I'm going to pass that on. I do want to keep this Revlon Balm. I do still really like that. And then next up to it, which is a little bit lighter and shinier, is Flower Beauty Barrymore. I do really like both of those shades, so I do think I'm going to keep excuse me. I do think I'm going to keep both of those. This shade here from ColourPop is the shade Afterburn. It's just a little bit brighter of a pink. I'm not reaching for it a ton. And then this Elf Berry shade, or excuse me, this Touch of Blush shade is really pretty balm, but I've kept some other balms that I think I would reach for over this. And the next shade that I am going to keep, although it is matte, Walk of Shame, is super similar in undertone to that. So I am keeping Walk of Shame for sure. Celine is just a little bit too much of a bright rose pink for me. It's a shade that I'm just not reaching for a ton, so I'm comfortable getting rid of that. This shade here from Catrice is super similar to Walk of Shame. In fact, I would almost call them exact dupes. So I'm gonna kind of dupe that shade. And then I feel like the next three shades here, or actually all four of these to be honest, but all three of these in particular are all super similar. So I've got Touch of Blush, I've got Touch of Blush, Little League from ColourPop, and Belle from ColourPop. And I think what I'd like to do is keep the Belle shade. I liked the whole Disney designer signature thing, super cute. And I liked the formula of Belle. So I'm going to pass on those two and keep Belle. In terms of my liquid lipsticks, this Ophir one is just going off. It's time for it to get chucked. This L'Oreal Pro Matte Gloss, I really did love this color, but this is super old and it's kind of starting to smell. And then I do think I'm going to hang on to Trophy Wife from Huda Beauty. I do really enjoy that shade. It's a little mauvey, so I'm going to need to check this against some of my mauves when we get to that section, but I think that is kind of how I am going to be looking at roses for the time being. All right, so let's look at pinks next. All right, so let's swatch some of these, and like I said, I'm going to go back and have to swatch probably some of these up against some pink nudes that I've kept as well, just to make sure they're not total duplicates. These two Color Riche Shine Balms from L'Oreal, I really like this formula. This is Burnished Blush number 906. So more of a rosy pink. In fact, I could have probably put that with the roses. And then this is Sparkling Rose. So this is a much lighter, more neutral pink. Well, it's more of a true pink now that I look at it, but it's definitely a lot lighter. And this is another balmy type product. This is Dusty Orchid Shimmer from Julep. And this one is got a little bit more cool tone to it. This is from a Korean brand called Hera. It's a luxury brand over there. Unfortunately, it's not cruelty-free. It is really pretty pink though. It's got this really interesting sort of stripe action down the top, and it's very balm-like. Let's do this next. So this is from Revlon. This is Barely Pink. This is one where I feel like it is probably one I need to swatch against some of the nudes that I kept, just to make sure it's not a total duplicate. Then we come to some matte lipsticks. So this is from Maybelline. This is Autumn Rose. This is a really beautiful, highly pigmented rose lipstick. Then we've got a true pink. This is Nocturnal Rose. This was their ultimate matte line, if I remember correctly. Like, it's even more pigmented and it's a little bit more of a cool toned pink. I do really like that color on me though. This is Frida from ColourPop. This is kind of old, but it's a warmer toned pink. Definitely has some coral in it. I may have to swatch that up against some corals as well. And then we come to some liquid lipsticks. This is Sephora Cream Lip Stain. This is shade 06, which is more cool toned as well. Then I've got Dose of Colors. This is Warm and Fuzzy. This one is a more warm toned pink. Even that could be slightly neutral. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to swatch these against some of the ones I've kept. I do like the Dose of Colors liquid lipstick formula. This is a liquefied lipstick from Burt's Bees in the shade Blush Bay. I did like this liquid lipstick formula. and that's a really pretty soft pink. All right, so what do we got here? All right, so here's what I'm gonna do with the ones that I am keeping at this point. So some of these might not make the cut after I go through and look at my nude lipsticks like I talked about, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep Burnished Rosewood from L'Oreal. I am gonna go ahead and pass on Sparkling Rose because it's very, very similar to the Hera lipstick that's down there. And I would rather keep the Hera lipstick for sentimental reasons from visiting Korea, as well as it just being a luxury brand. So I'm gonna pass on the L'Oreal one and keep the Hera one. And then I'm also gonna pass on this, it's Balm. I really debated whether or not I wanted to keep, which one of these I wanted to keep. Oh, actually, you know what? I told myself that I would keep the cruelty-free option. So I'm shocking myself. I'm actually going to pass this one on and keep the It's Balm one because those two shades are super similar. This is a pretty shade from Revlon in Barely Pink, but I feel like I've got other pinks that were in my nude pinks that I kept, and I feel like I can pass that on and not miss it. In terms of these next two from Maybelline, I do think I'm going to keep those. So that is Almond Rose and Nocturnal Rose. I like the blue base tone of Nocturnal Rose here, and I'm going to swatch this against some of the nude lipsticks I've kept, but assuming that I don't find a dupe for it, I will keep both of those. These next two I'm going to pass on. Frida from ColourPop is beautiful, but I feel like it's just really, really old and is slightly going off. And then because I kept Nocturnal Rose, I don't feel like I need a liquid lipstick version of it. This will be fine. It's nicely matte. It stays on my lips almost as well as a liquid lipstick, so I'm going to pass that on. And then for the time being, I think I'm going to keep these two as well. I have a feeling that this Dose of Colors lipstick is going to be very comparable to a nude pink that I've kept, and I may end up decluttering it. But this sort of shiny, fully glossy, liquefied lipstick from Burt's Bees I think is really pretty and doesn't really look like any of the tones that are left, especially since I decluttered that Revlon one. So that is pinks. Let's move to bright pinks next. All right, so here are all of my very, very bright lipsticks. So these are hot pinks. They have different undertones, more cool toned or warm toned, but they're all very bright. So I have one balmy lipstick that, you know what, I'm gonna wait on pulling because it's making all of those roll. All right, let's start at this end. So this is new to my collection. This is the shade Rainbow Spill from Lisa Eldridge, and it is neon. It is not going to pick up on camera how neon this is. It is a very pretty matte formula. It's super emollient on the lips, feels great, but it's definitely matte. It's just a really interesting formula, so I'm definitely going to hang on to that. Brand new. Next up we have Bite, this beauty. This is Gin Fizz. So this is sort of a more cool toned purpley pink. You can see that looks a lot more purple next to the Rainbow Spill shade. This is Firebird from Urban Decay. They do have this in their Vice lipstick formula, but this one was specific for Gwen Stefani packaging. It has a little bit of an orchid shift to it. This is ColourPop What If. This is one of their Luxe Lips line, and it's more of a deeper pink. I am missing the Queen from Charlotte Tilbury. Where is that lipstick? Hang, please. All right, this accidentally got tossed in the mauves. I knew I had another hot pink lipstick. This is the Queen from Charlotte Tilbury. It was a color that she did to kind of honor Queen Elizabeth, because she wears and has worn this very bright pinky lip for a while now. This is from NYX. This is Pink, Sweet Pink. This is a more of an orchid pink, very similar style, but a little more pink and deeper than Gin Fizz. Let's go ahead and swatch this guy. This is Lacquered Strawberry. It is one of the Color Shine. So this one is a pink, but it's more balm-like and it's a little more sheer. And then I've got two Ultra Satins from ColourPop. This is the Rabbit, which actually has a little bit of a bluish shift to it. It's a raspberry pink that has just a hint. I can't call it metallic, but if you move this side to side, you're definitely picking up some of the blue pearl I think they've added in there. And then this is the shade Mucho, which is more of a sort of strawberry red shade here. They're all sort of my bright pinks and raspberries. All right, so here is what I've decided. Like I said, definitely keeping the first shade Rainbow Spill. Also, I'm going to keep the second shade Gin Fizz. I've not been reaching for Firebird a ton, so I think I'm going to pass that along and not really miss it. The shade What If and the Queen are super similar to one another, and I definitely prefer Charlotte Tilbury's lipstick formula over the Luxe lipstick from ColourPop. So Charlotte Tilbury is going to stay and ColourPop is going to go. This very bright, sweet pink shade, I have gotten a lot of use out of it, but I feel like I can replicate that sort of style with Gin Fizz from the Amuse Bouche line, so I'm going to keep Amuse Bouche and pass on that. Lacquered Strawberry is just a really fun way to wear a pink that's maybe not quite as intense as these, which are all more of that matte saturated style, so I do think I want to keep those. I just haven't been reaching for these colors a ton. I feel like I've got matte bulleted lipstick formulas down here that I prefer to these Ultra Satin. Like I feel like I would reach for these over these two, and I definitely feel like that's replicated in the Queen, and the Rabbit is definitely so that same undertone that's in Gin Fizz down here, so I feel comfortable passing those on as well. All right, so now we're looking at sort of peaches and coral shades of varying pinky intensity. So I don't think I've sorted these effectively well, but let's go ahead and swatch these as best we can. So let's start with some of the more balm-like ones down below. This is from L'Oreal Coloris Shine. This is Luminous Coral. Definitely one of my favorite shades. It's really pretty peachy coral color. This is Julep. This is Nectar Pink. This should have been in that pinky section. That's really pretty. I feel like that needs to get swatched against some nude shades though. This is from Burt's Bees. This is the shade Sunset Cruise. I think this is one of their shine lipsticks. Yeah, it is. So this is more of a balmy shine lipstick. Let's go ahead and swatch this. This is the shade Energy Peach from Lancome. It's a really nice peachy shade. This does dry slightly matte, and it is flexible in terms of like how much building you get in that color. This is from Laura Mercier. This is Nude Nouveau. It's definitely a more peachy pink coral color. I was looking for something for spring and thought that might be really nice. Next up are a couple MAC lipsticks. This is a cream sheen called Nippon. It is, once again, very similar sort of coral shade to what we have going down there. And then this is another cream sheen in Coral Bliss. Apparently I like that glossy coral lip in the spring. Now we get into some that have a bit more pigment to them. In fact, let me switch a couple of these around here. This is from Tarte. This is a shade called Daiquiri, which is a deeper coral. In fact, it's almost a coral red. This packaging and these lip surgeons are just gorgeous, blue marble. And then this is a shade from MUA Makeup Academy that is at CVS. I don't know if this is cruelty free or not. I'll have to put that up on the screen here. This is their shade Coral, which is more of a deeper coral. I really do like that shade quite a bit. This is from a Korean brand called Eco Soul. This is their Kiss Button Lip. Don't remember what color. It's 04. This is a lighter peach again. And then this is from Lisa Eldridge. This is the shade Go Lightly, which is kind of a peachy pink. This is a shade that is very similar, if not exact, to the shade that Audrey Hepburn wore in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And then this is from Buxom. This is another one of their plump line liners. This is the shade Ransom. And this is a very light nudie pink. There are all the colors. Let's see what we want to do here. All right, here's the plan. I'm going to keep these first two. So this shade in Luminous Coral from L'Oreal, as well as the It's Balm Crayon in Nectar Pink. I am gonna swatch this against some of my pinky nudes though, so we'll see if that ultimately makes the cut. I'm gonna pass on these next two though. This Burt's Bees shade in Summer Cruise. I feel like it's very similar to the one I'm keeping, so I don't need to keep both. And then this Energy Peach looks very similar to that first shade I kept, so I'm gonna pass that on. I did just get this Laura Mercier shade, and I'm really debating whether or not I wanna keep it. I do think I'm gonna keep it because it is one of the few more satin textures that I have in my collection. I feel like a lot of my Peaches and Corals are all glossy. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and keep that. And then I think I'm going to pass on these next two MAC shades. I feel like I've got that coral, that bright coral down here in the L'Oreal one that I'm keeping, which is Nippon, and then Coral Bliss. I don't know, I feel like that's looking very similar to the Nectar Pink as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass those two on. These two here I don't feel like I need, and I feel like I like the MUA one over the Tarte one, so I'm going to keep the MUA and pass on the Tarte. I've just not been reaching for this Eco Soul very much. It's their Kiss Button Lip. I did pick this up in Korea, but I'm not as sentimentally attached to it as I am, say, like that Hera or that other fancy lipstick I picked up over there. So I think I'm going to pass that on and I won't miss it. Obviously, I'm keeping the Go Lightly shade. And then I think I'm going to pass on this Plump Line. I've just not been reaching for it. I don't really use this color a ton as a lip liner. And all over my lips, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to miss that. So I think that will wrap me up for pinks and corals and roses. Let me total everything up. Okay guys, so here is what I am decluttering and here is what I am keeping. I will say that I think there's a few shades that might actually be duplicated inside of my nudes. So I'm just gonna double check off camera and see if there's anything in here that I can immediately pull to the side. All right guys, so I went through and swatched some of the pinks that I was keeping against some of the ones that I had already decided to keep in my nude pinks. And as expected, I found a lot of dupes. So I am actually gonna go ahead and pass on these additional 6 lipsticks to friends, and if they're super old I'll just probably trash them. And then the more I looked at this trophy shade from Huda Beauty, the more I really want to compare this to my mauve, so I went ahead and pulled this out. I may keep this formula, but I'd like to put it in my mauve section so I can kind of see how it compares, because it's just more purpley than I realized. So ultimately what that means is that I've whittled down my pinks, roses, peaches, corals quite a bit, and I'm only keeping 14. So these are the 14 that I'm keeping, and I'm actually getting rid of 32. So I am getting rid of 70% of my pinks. That sounds very extreme, but you also need to bear in mind that I also have an absolute ton of pinky nudes that I definitely reach for a ton. A lot of these pinks were bright pinks and I felt like I only needed one, or a bright coral, I need one, that kind of thing. So I'm feeling pretty good about how today's declutter went. We're gonna move on to sort of mauves and grays in my next declutter, so make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my future declutter videos. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Talk to you soon. Bye.